Hey guys, and welcome back to the Path to Exile Podcast, episode 27, partnered with Mobalytics. I'm Cal Torek, and joining me per usual is Miso Shiro and Dead Rabbit. If you're new here, we have our audio-only format on Spotify and Apple Music, so if you don't want to watch us, you can listen to us there. This week we have Farmer back. I think Farmer, you're actually the first person we've had back 3 times, so yeah, we like you a lot. Welcome back, man. Thanks for hanging out with us.
I'm the only one.
Well, technically, he's on the episode every week, according to chat.
So free.
According to chat, he's been on the episode every single week, so
don't have a social life. I'm just like you guys, we just no friends.
Come on, speak for yourself, all right? I have a really good friend. I have one really good friend. He's with me all the time, every single day. He's with me right now too.
Anime waifus do not count. I just want to make that clear.
I wasn't talking about that. I was talking about myself. It's attached to my body.
What?
My friend's attached to my body. It's on the right side of my body.
What the hell? I mean, what the hell?
Can we restart?
Yeah. Can we get a wellness check?
Yeah. What friend? Can we get elaboration?
What's going on here?
Welcome back, Farmer. Third time on the podcast. How you doing?
Third and final. Good. I'm doing great. I'm doing really good, actually. I haven't really been playing PoE. I just took some time off. It feels kind of like we're in a weird spot right now. We're like, I know you guys don't really play PoE 1, but usually it's like PoE 2 is over. You have like maybe 3 or 4 days off, go practice some PoE 1, and then like boom, PoE 1 League starts. Then PoE 1 League is done. You have like 3 or 4 days, practice some PoE 2 campaign. Boom, PoE 2 starts. That's what my last like 8 months have been like. So it's kind of weird right now, just in the sense of like for Path of Exile specifically, it's a really big gap in time for like the next league. Unless you count like Phrecia, which I don't know if I'm going to play or not, but still it's like, it's like 2 more months or like a month, more than a month for PoE 1 League. And then we don't know when the PoE 2 League is going to be. So like realistically, it's going to be like 3 months for the next PoE 2 League. You know what I mean? It's kind of a weird. I feel lost. I feel like one of those like when those parents who like their kids go to college and they're just like, what do I do with my life now? Like my whole purpose is like, what is my purpose? I don't fucking know. Yeah, existential crises over here.
How long did you play the last league? A question because I guess is you're feeling this way because you're quitting this league faster than you've quit previous leagues?
No, I'm not. I don't think I'm quitting it faster. It's just there's a bigger gap now because the PoE 1 League was delayed. It was supposed to be like February, like if they follow the the 4-month cycle, but because of the holidays, it's been delayed like a month.
I see.
Yeah, so it feels like there's like an awkward time. I played the last PoE 1 League for almost the whole 2 months, like a month and a half. Yeah.
Technically, it's pretty dang close to it if they follow suit with their prediction of early March. Did they say early March? I don't even remember. They said March.
Early March.
Yeah. So
like
because PoE 1 came out on the Halloween, so it basically came out in November.
When did PoE 2 come out? I thought PoE 2 came out like December.
Yeah, December.
Early December.
Yeah, so it's like 3 months then, right?
Between PoE 2 and PoE 1.
PoE 1.
Yeah. Between.
So, yeah. So that's kind of what I mean.
I see. Normally it's a 2-month gap. Now it's a 3-month gap.
Exactly. And the 2-month gap is almost perfect because it's like I usually play like a month and a half. So then it's like I play a month and a half, take a couple days off, then start like doing practicing campaign for the other game. Then boom, boom, boom. And now I'm an old man. Like, where did the time go?
Yeah. I guess we could just dive into the Phrecia stuff because that did get announced. That I guess that is why they're doing the Phrecia League again, is because there is this extra gap. I guess first questions is who's all playing in it. Are you planning on playing in it, Farmer?
I don't know. I've been it's in like 5 days, right?
Is it that soon?
Yeah.
Oh shit. Yep. Wow, I didn't realize it was so soon. Okay.
Super soon. So I'm not sure if I'm gonna play it. I've been playing a lot of TFT. I'm trying to play a couple pro tournaments.
Dang.
Just because I figure this time off before PoE 1, like I'll have like a month I can try and climb up and try and play in a couple tournaments, and if I can get to Challenger, I can theoretically sign up for like the Vegas Open, which is just like it's like a LAN tournament, and I think that'd be cool just to try something else again. And I just feel like like before I told you, there's the schedule is like so rigid for like if you're playing both PoE 1 and PoE 2. There's like so much time. Like I just like for the last 8 months, like I've been literally playing Path of Exile every single day. So I think it'd be cool just to play some TFT again, get the competitive spirit back in my bones, my old bones. See if Unk still got it. But yeah, that's what I've been thinking about doing. I've hard stuck Emerald though, so by time I might be past my prime. So fingers crossed. We'll see.
But are you actually hard stuck or just?
I can't tell. I've been here for.
You can't tell yet. Okay. I mean, it always also depends on the set. As someone who just sucks at TFT but really likes the game, it's like for me it always just depended so much on the set. You'll get there. We believe.
I need some cope. The morale is low over here, so I needed to hear that.
Yeah, good luck, Unk.
I don't think I'm playing Phrecia. To me, to me, Phrecia is really cool. I would love a Phrecia for PoE 2. It's for someone who's like they understand the game, they've done everything of all the current ascendancies, but someone who's not a veteran of PoE 1. I don't have the same appeal that it's just designed to people who already like love PoE 1 in my head. And there's no way I could play both PoE like the 3.29 and Phrecia. I would have to pick one. And I'm gonna pick, if I play in one of them, it's gonna be 3.29. So I don't plan on playing Phrecia. Rabbit, what about you?
No. Also no. It's obviously the most common question always on my stream. Like just whenever PoE 1 comes or PoE 2, or like a Phrecia event now, I am still not really burned out on PoE 2. I just started my whole HC SSF thing, and I'm loving my time in hardcore SSF right now. It is an amazing experience to play the game this way, especially as someone who has played the game basically the opposite way for such a long time now. So, and it's also it's just I just like PoE 2 so much, and I know how much I like PoE 1, and that could become problematic because if I actually then every 2 months also do PoE 1 as hard as I do PoE 2. So for example, this league start, the first 30 days of the league start, I streamed an average of 13 hours every day. And if I then also do that for PoE 1, because I know if I start PoE 1 again and get into that rabbit hole again, it's going to be even worse than PoE 2 because the endgame loop is so much better and everything. I don't think I need to tell anyone how good PoE 1 is. It's just I'm probably just gonna die at 40 if I do that. So I really like having this kind of off season right now for me. I know this is like a super streamer POV right now. People at home just playing the game for fun and whatever are going like, what the fuck is he talking about? It's such a like weird streamer POV right now. I just like having like this downtime a little bit now, and then going back into PoE 2 when the update comes. Right now, HCSSF is awesome. So yeah, I'm not doing Phrecia, even though I would probably like it a lot, probably too much.
Yeah. You sound just like you could literally clip one of my stream moments from yesterday where someone's been asking me, am I going to play 3.29 on Phrecia? And it's literally the same thing. It's like, I want to, but I literally cannot do that for my life. Like, I need the off season to play other games. As stupid as that sounds, like, because we're the same mindset. Like all of us, like when we're at this level, like of content creation, like we have to degen the games that we play, and like PoE 1 has too many degen hours. It's just It would consume you.
I've gone through this experience multiple times already on PoE 1 when I wasn't even doing like content or anything, and I was still at university or something and just spent all of my time. I wasn't doing stuff for university, just playing PoE 1 and just basically not seeing the sunlight. And no, I'm very comfortable where I am, and I think PoE 2 it just lends itself amazingly to playing like exclusively for a good amount of time, and then having a little bit of basically free time. And I think this goes for people who don't play this from the content perspective as well, because it's just the game is just that good. And then you have like this downtime, and then oh my god, and if you then haven't played the game for a month or even 2, and then the new update is coming, it's gonna feel even better. And right now also there's TBC on World of Warcraft, and there's Midnight coming on World of Warcraft, and yeah, there's very interesting stuff always.
So, are you Phrecia?
I'm still on the fence, to be honest. It kind of like depends on the vibes of the stream and how I'm feeling about the game. I'm still feeling like I have, at least another build or two in me too in Path of Exile 2. So we'll see about that. I'm leaning towards no right now, not because I don't want to play it, but it's more of like I'm just not tired of Po 2 yet. And also, I'll definitely play 328. I'll definitely play 328. But Phrecia is coming at a time where I'm just feeling like I still have some life. There's still some life in these old bones. We're still kicking it over here in PoE 2 land. And, we'll see. And I'm also, I talked about this in my chat too, in my stream with my chat, but even though I've played PoE 1 on and off since 2000 and whatever beta was, I played very casually, so I'm not really. It's kind of like the same thing as you, Cal, where it's like, it feels like you're really out of your element when Phrecia comes in, because it's like we're still trying to get a grasp of base PoE 1 again, and then Phrecia comes in, I'm just like, I don't know what's going on. So it's a little bit of both. It's like I'm still having fun in Po 2, but then there's also a little bit of like, it's a little bit overwhelming. I like last league I just followed Mage Fist for his Flicker build, and I don't really feel like doing that again for this, Phrecia. I'd want to make my own build, but I don't think it's possible if I were to go in and do it just off the bat like this with these brand new ascendancies and stuff. So we'll see. A little bit up in the air. My guess is like leaning 80% staying in PoE 2, 20% going in Phrecia. But if chat pushes me hard enough, I could be convinced.
Do you guys feel like guilty? Because I feel like a deep sense of guilt. Like this is like the first time I've taken off like any time from playing PoE. I feel like, I don't know, I feel like a fucking slug right now. Like, what am I doing, man? Like, what am I doing with my life? I should just be playing. I should just like suck it up and just play some PoE 1.
I think it's because you haven't taken a break yet that you have that. Once you've taken your first break and you get that like just that freedom for just a brief reset, like you'll never feel that sluggish again. I know breaks are nice.
Yeah.
Sounds like you're having fun with TFT too. So just like take the break and grind TFT, man.
All right. I needed to hear that.
I feel you.
I was like, oh, it's in 5 days. I should just play it, like I should just do it.
I feel you. If
you're having fun doing what you're doing, man, do it. Like keep playing TFT.
Yeah. Having fun. Don't pay the bills.
Summer's gonna play it.
That's true.
I think I might. I gotta might. It's expensive.
That's true.
You think it's cheap having all these cuck chairs here?
It also depends on your hard stock, on the hardness of the stockness of the emerald.
If I'm not masters by the end of this weekend, I'm I'm playing PoE 1, man. Fuck it.
Damn.
Hell yeah.
I mean,
if you're gonna have fun on it too, then do it too. Follow your heart.
Yes, always. Heart of the cards.
Oh, there he goes. He's following his heart. He's leaving the stream.
Yeah, okay.
He's leaving the pod.
Yeah.
He's like, all right, peace out.
Don't follow it that literally, man.
Alrighty.
07.
Going to the woods. No, sorry.
How have you enjoyed this league as a whole? Where would you rate 0.4 compared to the other 3?
It was great. Sorry, I saw Rabbit's cat.
Loki's butthole.
Dude, I think
Relax, Lakari.
It actually had the potential to be the best league ever. It did. They just fucked it up in too many small ways, but it had the potential to be the best league. If the temple, okay, first thing, crafting sucks, right? It's just bad.
It's not in a good state.
It's like I was expecting them. Honestly, I predicted that they were going to remove homogs because it's so hard to balance, but it's not that hard to balance, right? If you think about catalyzing omens, right? That's all homogs need to be, was like the catalyzing omen, where it gives you a chance to get the thing that you want, not like 100% likelihood of getting it, right? If they'd just done that, I think crafting would have been fine. But I thought they were going to remove it because it is kind of hard to balance if they don't do that. And if they did remove it, I was hoping that they would just add something else, like another crafting mechanism to like just alleviate some of the pain, like make it so it's not like OP anymore to craft, but at the same, like not 100% deterministic, but at the same time, like give us another lever to pull on, right? They didn't do that, and crafting was fucking brutal. I mean, it was like really back to like 0.1 kind of thing. You know, whittles were like 50 div last week. Like dextral nulls were like 70 div or some crazy shit like that. Obviously, that's partially due to inflation, but it was also because like that's the only way you can craft in the end game now, right? You have to whittle, and like you have to be slamming all this. Like it's just like back to like the slamming stuff. So I think if they made that a little bit better, like that would have been like the crafting could have been perfect, right? Because it was too OP last league. They just needed to taper it down a little bit this league, but instead they just took it out back. You know, straight kneecap on the homogs. So that was kind of rough. I think if they just nerfed it a little bit better, crafting would have been in like a perfect spot, like the best spot it's ever been in. And then the temple, you can clearly tell that they did not want us to do the shit we're doing at the temple with the snakes and stuff like that. If they had come in with the intention of like, that's what we want you guys to do, and we want to like have this really cool mechanic where you build up your temple and make it really like strong and like buffed at the end game, and a situation where, you know, every 6 maps you can just get to do like a map that's like a little bit more juiced, right? Then I think the juicing, the end game, would have been literally better than PoE 1. Like I think temple as a concept is literally better than PoE 1 end game juicing. But the issue is that they didn't actually have this thing in mind of like, oh, we want you to build up your temple. I think they wanted us to just rush Ziri and then have some rooms on the side where like sometimes we'll have a nice temple set up, and then for the most part we're just rushing Ziri. If they did come in with the mindset of like, we want this to be the mechanic and we want this to be like something that you build up towards the end game, then I think what they could have done was they could have just made it not super broken. You know, instead of being like I think on release it was like 400 div an hour if you min maxed your temple, right? And then after the nerfs, it's still like 200 div an hour if you min max your temple and you have like a really good gear like set up and you have temporalis, whatever. But I think if they just like had like, and that's clearly because like they didn't like intend for people to do that. If they had intended for people to do that, they could have just brought it down to where it's like 40 div an hour, where it's like 4 times more rewarding as maps. But then like you only do it once every 6 maps, and then like, okay, like there we go, and like make it a little bit easier to set up, like that kind of thing. I think if they did something like that, I think the league would have been like fucking amazing, like perfect. Like crafting could have been perfect, and then the end game could have been perfect, and it would have been like a 10 out of 10 league. But I'm sorry, I yapped a long time. It could have been 10 out of 10, but for me, it was like 8 out of 10. It was really, really good. Like I had a lot of fun doing the temple. It's really dopamine heavy, but again, it's kind of like Earth. If you guys play League of Legends, like where you have that one game mode where it's like it blasts like your fucking dopamine receptors, right? Like after you play Earth, you go back to play League of Legends, you're like, fuck this game. Like, why am I not like casting like 30 abilities a second? And I think that's gonna be like how it is next league. You get into the next league and be like, why did I not get like 6 tinks in one room? You know? So that's my concern.
I mean,
but also like Earth gets old pretty quick.
Exactly.
That's what you're saying, right? Because that was like my whole thing about the temple. Like it's super fun, but it obviously gets old very quick because everything just loses all meaning. Usually what we play Path of Exile 2 for, the things and the, oh my god, headhunter, or like all the jobs. If it's just, I've seen people do filters now for temple. It's just divines, locks, and mirrors, and some of the uniques that are still like uncorrupted worth something. So yeah,
not headhunters.
Then it's just like, and then it just loses all meaning, and that is also why I like left softcore like about like 2 weeks ago now. Because it just, for me, it just loses all meaning. It's super, super fun, but then it just gets old very, very quick. And yeah, sorry, Miso.
No. I mean, so completely agree about the fun stuff about like, you know, dopamine receptors and stuff like that. That to me, that's one of the main reasons why I never started building a temple after the first bit, because it was just like, at some point these divs are worth like why do I care about them dropping? That's why I like the abyss farming so much, because every Omen of Light, boom, 40 divs, boom, 40 divs. It's such a good feeling. If you guys have not, I mean, you guys obviously haven't done the farm, but actually maybe Farmer has, I don't know.
I've done it.
But oh, you've done it? Yeah.
I've been doing it on Hardcore Trade.
Nice. It feels so fun. It feels so good. It's just like
it's great.
The dopamine just hits. But to kind of go back on what Farmer said about like their intent, I'm pretty sure it was on the Ziggy D podcast, but Ziggy D did say that they did intend on making the temple the way it is, in terms of like you're building it out and not at Siri rushing. And I think you maybe forgot about the mid-league patch that buffed the temple uber, because at the beginning, temple was not good. People did not like temple and was not rewarding at all. But then they buffed it, which caused it to go up to like what, 400 divs per temple or something like that. And then they nerfed it. What
was the buff?
Did the buff was the thing or something.
Yeah, the buff was the thing that blew everything apart. It like, made it so like what was it? The Golem Works and like the alchemy labs and stuff like that doubled the doubled the effectiveness of a lot of the other stuff. And a lot of the rooms themselves originally didn't come with like, hey, this is going to increase the effectiveness of the entire temple by XYZ. It's just going to be doing something like not really, valuable. So they uber scaled and uber buffed the temple in that one patch after everybody was complaining about how the temple wasn't rewarding enough. And they went too far in that direction, and they tried to pull it back a little bit with that fixed patch afterwards. Which it's still way too overtuned right now. But I think like they probably rather have it overtuned just by a little bit than have it undertuned again for this league, at least.
Yeah. Right, that makes sense.
Yeah, and I think like maybe with the original temple, maybe it might have gone well, actually I don't think so. I don't think it would have ever really gotten to a point where it would have been like extremely profitable. I think maybe the original temple was, maybe looking back on it, maybe the right level of balance. I don't know. It's hard to say because nobody ever built out their snake like crazy big. But yeah, it's hard to say.
Yeah, I assume they weren't expecting like Milky's to figure it out to the extent like that they were not thinking that was going to happen, right?
Yeah,
like an infinite chain.
It's just pretty easy to say. I think there's no way they intended for it to be this good on the top level. There's no way. It's just,
I think what they wanted was like for you to just vibe, put down rooms, and then like lose some rooms, then put some more down, then lose some. That's kind of what I meant when I said like this wasn't intended, right? It's like the snakes were intended. I think what they were intending was that you just put down, like you put a pathway towards Ziri, and then on like you throw down some rooms on the side, and then like hope that like you get some good stuff, and then like eventually like keep on adding. But then the way it works is you'll probably reach a break point where like you can no longer add more, and like the amount that you add will always get removed, and then as a result, have it just be like very moderately juiced. I think that's kind of what I was trying to allude to, because like
it's hard to say. It's hard to say what their intentions were unless we're actually in the room, but I think that definitely the level of which these things have gotten to was definitely not their intention. They did not want to, make temples absolutely poop out divines and make headhunters worth like 2 divs.
It's been fun though.
Yeah,
I feel like it's led to fun for. I mean, I want to say everybody. Like as someone who has not done a big Giga Snake, who's done only at Ziri farming when I've done Temple, and then spend most of my time either Citadel hopping or just doing map mechanics. Especially now that if they would have fixed the Fracture Orb boss earlier in the league, like people could have been just printing currency outside of Temple. I mean, I made so much currency outside of Temple. We've talked about this plenty, so. I feel like they say that Affliction League was the league that like had a crazy currency similar to this one, and it ends up being most people's favorite league, especially if that was your first league you played PoE 1 for. So I don't know. I feel like most people probably had fun, right? But
yeah, and this league has a very good player retention, and we also said like, even though we talked about the problems or the crux of the temple, whatever. I really like the temple mechanic. I think it's an amazing league mechanic, and I think when it goes through some more rotations of adjustments, it's gonna be amazing. I think it's a very, very good. It's a little bit Delve-like, I would say. If you specialize in building like a good tempo, or you get like a good Ethereal strategy down, it could for the future, for like all the coming patches, it could always be a mainstay of what people do in endgame. So, and for me, that's just a good league mechanic. It completely broke in this patch, but hey, in a vacuum, doesn't really matter because people, most people don't play standard. Standard is a shit show anyway when it comes to currency. All currency is gonna be reset anyway on the next update. I kind of disagree with Farmer a little bit because I do think that once a new season, once a new league comes, I think getting that first div on a fresh character will still once again feel. I think people forget pretty fast. Do you actually think there's going to be people that say, "Oh my god, I'm not getting 40 div in half an hour. What is this crap?"
Yeah, I think my first experience with PoE 1 was not my first, but like the first time I played in like 10 years was I think 3.27, right? And that was, or it was Merc League. I forget which league it was.
Yeah, it's
like what the number was. But,
it's like 3.26.
3.26. And I remember thinking like this game is really great. Like the end game farms are good. Like you're making like 40, 50 div an hour. You're getting a lot of tanks, blah, blah, blah. But it's because of like the mercenary buff was like really strong. And then also the Atlas was really strong. And then, in this most recently, they nerfed the mercenaries. They got rid of the mercenaries. So like you lose like nearly 50% quant because of that. And then they nerfed the Atlas as well. So then you had like lower, what is it called? Effectiveness of your maps, right? And as a result, this league felt like shit. Whereas I would imagine if like I had played in a different league where it was just like a normal league, I would have been like, it would have felt a lot less bad. But I would say like, I think for me and for a lot of players who played like 3.27, was it the breach, like the reworked, the worst, the nerfed breach league. I think it was like very, very noticeable, like, because like it's like everything is relative, right? Like you always compare your experiences to your previous experiences, right? So I think I'm not sure. Hopefully, like maybe we can forget. Maybe we're like Gen Z, like hopefully like you guys have Subway Surfer on the bottom right now for this podcast, like kind of thing, and we can just forget about like the absolute dopamine from the temple. But I think what was my prediction will be like we start the league, you get your first tank, it's going to feel really good. And then you're going to make your upgrades, it's going to feel really good. And then like you get to the end game juice and you're like, okay, time to farm. And it's like, ooh, I dropped an Echo. This is worth like 10 exalts. Ooh, I dropped the Omen of Light. This is worth like 2 div. Like, and then you're going to be like getting into the end game and be like, ooh, I kind of wish like we were like we were tanking a little bit harder. But like we were last league.
I really like, I completely don't get that because it's all like in a vacuum, no? Because you're not getting excited about divines now in temple. I'm not talking about you, by the way. Just like that whole mindset that encapsulates exactly what you're talking about. You're not getting excited about temple divines anymore now because you're thinking every 2 seconds, and as soon as that is gone, basically, and the 10 Exalt will buy you like, especially early league or something, the 10 Exalt is going to have so much more meaning than that one divine in the temple now. Because I get that the whole thing about the tink, and then the white sign on the screen or whatever, it's like, but for me it just loses all meaning if it's this like inflated that way. And for me, or like I think in general, it just means so much more than in like a coming league when you're like 1 week in or something and you get that divine drop or that nice gear drop that is a few divines or even like a few exalt or something. That I just think that feels even better. That's what I meant by the temple kind of destroyed for me what I actually usually an ARPG is about. And that's why I just basically quit the temple and just went like HCSSF now, because it just ruined the feeling for me of.
I think
what I
that's what
usually play the
proves
game for.
Farmer right, though, is like you stop
Yeah.
yourself from playing it because you realize you
True.
didn't like it. The people who are abusing the temple, who are abusing that level of currency farming, they're doing it because they love that feeling, and they're not gonna get that feeling next patch.
Yeah,
if you're one
Farmer's
of
on the
those people
whole
who is
Steam list.
abusing the dopamine of that, that if you were like just straight up like putting it into your veins, like you love that feeling, you're not gonna get that in 0.5, and you're gonna feel the difference. So it just depends
Yeah.
on like how deep you are into the temple farm.
I completely.
true.
Well, first of all, Rabbit, I completely agree with you. I think it was too much, and I think there's been like studies on this, but I guess the best example is like the Earth example we came about earlier. The reason why Earth was so bad, like the reason why after the first time they did it, they didn't do it for like a year, was because they looked at the numbers and they realized everything you're saying is true. It's like too much dopamine, and then it becomes meaningless. Like if you're playing Earth, it's like not even fun anymore because it's like it's too TikTok like brain rot, you know. But the issue is that like there's still a very real effect where like after people played Earth, the reason why they stopped doing it was because after people played Earth, there was like one of the biggest drop offs of like not just not playing Earth anymore, but not playing the main game. So like that's kind of like what I'm saying is going to be the issue, is that like next league, there's going to be that same drop off of like, okay, like we have this Earth like temple shit where it's like super dopamine intensive, and then now we have to go back to like the normal game. Like our dopamine receptors are like so cooked right now, and like our expectation for like what the game is supposed to be is so cooked. There's going to be like kind of like a withdrawal stage, right? Where it's like, you know, you're snorting coke for like 3 weeks straight, and then like now you're just like back to like just drinking coffee, you know, and it's just not going to be enough. And I think a lot of people are going to feel like this, like, oh, like it's like almost like a Pavlovian dog thing where it's like you're expecting this dopamine, like they you know, he rings the bell and you're like, why does my mouth taste so bad, right? And it's because like you have like this expectation, and I don't think that like obviously like the Earth, like this temple setup that we have now is like good for the game by any means, but I do think that next league there will be like this feeling of like, ugh, like I have this expectation, or I have this like, you know, this frame of reference of like what PoE is, where it's like everything is so expensive. It's like, you know, the numbers got 10x, blah, blah, blah. And then people are just going to be like, ugh, like this feels bad now. And I don't really know why.
I think I think a good example that we all can feel, because I know Farmer talked a little bit about his PoE1 experience, but I think a good example that we can put into I guess practice right now is gear quality, because I don't know how you guys felt this league, but going into the league and like building up my character, when I was trying to build up my character, I was trying to search and filter for gear that was probably way better than what was the standard for this league, because I was so used to last league and how it was so easy to get very high quality weapons and high quality gear. Like it was just like, you know, oh yeah, obviously this weapon is gonna be super cheap because it's like pretty dang easy to get. But then because we don't have homogenizations anymore, the quality of gear that we have is just lower overall, and my expectation of what gear should be is not actually like what it naturally is. It's like instead of having like a weapon, like by mid game, I'm having like this perfectly rolled weapon or close to perfectly rolled weapon. I'm working off of a gear that looks like a rare drop on the ground instead of that. So
Yeah.
I think that is something that at least I experience this league. I don't know if you guys experience, but I've definitely seen people in chat, you know, kind of agreeing with me, the saying like it kind of skewed what their idea of like a good piece of gear was, because what we had last league was like, yeah, these are like perfectly rolled pieces of gear that most leagues you're never gonna get.
Yeah. Very specific martial weapon builds, like my crossbow builds that I played last league. I constantly see comments on those videos like my boss damage is so much lower this league, I can't get a good enough crossbow like what you're showing here. It's like, yeah, like you can't get this crossbow you see, and there was like 100 of them, like thousands of them on the market last league. It's very noticeable with weapons for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Since we're talking about crafting stuff, and we brought up crafting a few times now, it's a discussion we were gonna have later, but as someone who's still not much of a crafter, I'm starting to dabble in crafting with my solo self-found and hardcore runs I'm doing now. But what do you guys think is needed to, like, we're going to get new mechanics in 0.5. What, like, currency or what needs to be added with this upcoming endgame patch that's going to help bring us back towards, obviously we don't want to go all the way to 0.3 levels of crafting, but a farmer, what do you think, what currency or what do you want added in 0.5?
I think it's actually really simple. Like, I know, like, this is kind of like some tinfoil hat shit that I have, but they data mine like the delve stuff, right? And in PoE 1 for delve, the crafting, the way fossils work would like pretty much be exactly what they wanted to do with homogenizing omens without it being like super broken, which is just that fossils will give like a 10x multiplier, which is double what catalyzing exalts do, right? Which is like a 5x multiplier on normal rings. On breach rings, I'm not sure if it's 10x or not, but essentially it just makes it so like you're way more likely to hit specific tags, right? And I think that is like what you need. Like, this is kind of what I was saying in the first league, and I caught some flack for it. Not the first league, but the like last league. Just that it was too deterministic, and that's definitely a problem. Like, you don't want your crafting to be like a recipe where it's like you do this, you do this, you do this, and your item is 100% done. You kind of want it to be more like what is it, like jazz or like improv, where you do this and then this thing happens, like that's really exciting, and because this thing happens, now you can try you can like do this other thing and try and get another stat on, and like improvise like throughout the craft. And I think having some sort of like multiplier on like the odds of getting certain mods is better than having like a deterministic, like 100% chance way of getting it. And it makes crafting, because like crafting does need to have a certain degree of what is it called, of like gamba to it, right? Of like that feeling where you slam something really cool on that's like low likelihood, and you're like, holy fuck yes, this is worth like hundreds of div, or this is worth like a couple div depending on how broke you are, like where you just get lucky like that. Like, I think that's what they want, is like that feeling of like, oh, like we hit something good here. But at the same time, you want there to be like a feeling of, it's not just like your raw dog exalt slamming and praying. Like, that's too like low likelihood. There has to be like a medium, like it's spectrum, right? And like before it's like here, then it was like here, now it's like here. But like, I think even closer in the middle would probably be ideal.
You basically just want the ability, and I like wholeheartedly agree. You basically just want the ability to lead it in a certain direction, because you are obviously looking for something specific. Always when you're crafting, you want to be able to lead it in that direction without actually being able to always 100% hit the right thing, because it just takes all the excitement out. And it's basically what Miso also said. I'm once again, and I've mentioned this like a bunch of times now, for me, the draw of an ARPG is always the thing that you haven't done yet and you haven't reached that. And whether it is something like the Broken Temple we have now, cutting out the whole thing of getting all the divines in the world, or having homogenizing Omen, cutting out the part where you actually have to be a little bit lucky to get some of those items. It's just that is at least for me, in my just like subjective way, that is always the stuff that I don't really like, because I always like having always something to still be doing. That's why I like HDSSF so much now, because that literally never ends. And I think just on the homogenizing this, we're probably gonna get something, I guess, similar to it again. I would argue, but maybe it will just be toned down in a way where you can only hit a certain modifier level, I would think. Maybe, and it's going to go closer to maybe like expedition crafting, because expedition crafting is basically, it's very good early league in the first few days, but then I don't think anyone does it, because you're never able to hit those big ones. And I think if they move it a little bit more in that direction, that could be probably the way to go, because we lost a little bit too much. So like you also said, we had too much, and then they probably took away a little bit too much now. So we gotta find that center a little bit again, I think.
Agree.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I don't remember if I said it last podcast or something like that, but I was saying that I don't think that we should ever be in a situation where going for a late craft roll should ever be in a state where it's like I'm rolling for one line out of the entire pool of rolls. There should always be some way to take a pool of, let's say, 7 possibilities and shrink it down a little bit if you know what you're doing. Shrink it down to like 5, 4, whatever it might be. I think that is, in my mind, a much better state of crafting. And the reason why I say late game or a late crafting is because, I mean, I would like it to be that at every single point of crafting you can narrow it down a little bit more. But I know that even in Path of Exile 1, like alch spamming and stuff still exists. So I don't know if they're ever going to be making it so that every single point, every single step of the way, you can have some way of actually, narrowing down that possibility of what you're going to roll into.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot we can talk about when crafting this episode. I know Rabbit and I both have things we want to talk about from crafting from the hardcore, so self-found perspective. But while we're talking about just crafting and PoE 1 crafting in general, let's talk about white bases in PoE 2. We've all been talking about crafting bases this league and this past league. I've made most of my divine, at least in the main trade league, was off of crafting off of white bases and low rarity farming. And Chris Wilson recently mentioned in the actual Diablo 2 interview he was doing that PoE 2 might have solved the problem with white items having really no actual value themselves. That you can actually now take a white item and very easily turn it into a lot of divine and not have to then craft it any further, like, beyond rares and stuff. And very early on in PoE 2 cycle, we were very or at least the crafting community was like demanding orbs of scoring, and they were wanting to just make it to where you can just cycle on the same item over and over and again. But like now, when we look back on it, at least I want to look on it, these bases have a lot of value. And from just the people actually farm for these white items. So just want to bring back up this conversation now that Chris Wilson thinks that at least from his perspective, that PoE 2's done a good job with the direction they've taken this. Farmer, how are you feeling on the state of just the white bases in general?
That's actually a really good question. I thought last league it was too broken, right? Because of like og and null, and then like with homogenizing, like you could just keep on auging until you have 2 perfect stats, and then you could homogenize and guarantee like 2 more perfect stats minimum, sometimes even like 3 or 4, and then just Omen of Light guarantee like 5 and 6. You know what I mean? It was just like too broken. Now I'm not really sure. It's kind of hard because it's like, on the one hand, I think it's good. I think it's in a solid spot where it's like not too broken, but at the same time, I do kind of like a world where like, white items. I don't know. I actually don't know because it's like you don't want white items to be too broken, right? But at the same time, if they're not that broken, like a lot of them like aren't really worth picking up. But it depends. Like maybe like I'm too like Elon Ma brained where it's like I'm just thinking right now where it's like I'm making 50 div in a temple. So it's like if it's not worth like 10 div, I don't even give a fuck about it anymore. Like I might maybe I need to have like a dopamine detox first before I can really answer this. But I do think that like, for example, in PoE 1, like white items are rarely like valuable at all. Like I can only think of like maybe 1 or 2 scenarios early league where that's really the case, unless they have like a specific like elder influence or like specific like what are they called, like influence on them. But yeah, I think that is cool though, because just like being able to find like a heavy belt early in the league, it's like, oh, that's like 10 exalts, and 10 exalts actually like matters a lot, and that's really cool. And being able to find like later in the league, like I think like maybe 2 weeks ago, it was like the spirit amulet base, the solar amulet white bases, if they're like at level 82, those were worth like 4 div. And I think it's a really cool way of like, making useless items useful. But at the same time, if you want to craft, you have to like, there was a point where this is obviously a little bit better now, but in like 0.2, I think like all the crafting you do, you'd have to start with using the lesser essences on the white items. So if you wanted to craft rings, you start off by buying like an entire tab of like white rings and then essencing all of them. And then like out of like the entire tab, you'll have like 10 good rings that you can like continue crafting on. Now it's a little bit different. It's a little bit better, but I would say it's like still really good, but I think there still is like a room for improvement on there as well.
I think for me, the biggest so I think back to what Logahall said about like, do we really have a big difference between Path of Exile 1 and Path of Exile 2 AUG spamming versus what we have right now? I think the biggest difference for one is that we actually have a market for white items, which is a positive, kind of like what Chris Wilson has said. But in essence, what we're doing right now is not that much different than AUG spamming. It's just that there's an extra layer, there's an extra step to it where we have to buy the items and we have to go through the whole song and dance of teleporting somebody's hideout and buying the item, and then, you know, going to 5 or 6 hideouts to like fill your inventory up with white items and then hopefully hitting what you need. So instead of doing the AUG spamming, we're just now perfect trans, perfect AUG spam, and then maybe a perfect regal. And then if you don't get what you need, then you move on to the next batch. And then you have to keep going to people's hideout over and over and over again, which adds like a level of friction that's a little bit annoying. But at the same time, I think that Chris Wilson does make a very good point that it is really awesome that we now have a market for this and that there's value for them, which I don't think there's really any other ARPG that I've seen that has value for these white items. I think that one of the biggest changes that they can make to make the friction lower is just having a marketplace where you can bulk buy certain white items, kind of like the currency exchange, because white items are a fixed thing. There's no range that you can. I mean, I guess certain implicits can roll a range, so then that kind of changes it up. But most white items don't have an implicit range that can roll. So if there's some way to make it so that those specific white items, or maybe change it so all white items can't roll a range of implicits, we can have some sort of currency exchange for the white items to buy in bulk to kind of alleviate a little bit of that friction of having to, like, you know, go into somebody's hideout, seeing they only have one of those bases. You're like, well, that sucks. Now I got to go to another person's hideout. And then you go to that person. It's like, oh, this person only has one base too. So now I got to go to another guy's hideout. So yeah, finding some way to alleviate that would help a lot with some of the friction.
I've actually thought about that. I think it would be pretty easy. Like, you know how like you can set like, I feel like if you could just set like a minimum number in their like range, you know what I mean? Like if you're looking for like solar bases and you can just set like a minimum of like 5 bases, like I feel like that would solve a huge problem there that you're talking about and that I've thought about since like I had to do like a lot of this hideout warrior shit myself, where like, yeah, I know exactly what you mean. You go to the guy's base, you're like, please have like 20. You go there, it's like 1. Fuck. Okay. Go to the next guy. Please have like 20. It's 1. Fuck. If you could just sort by like minimum 10 or something like that, then it would be like, then you could like actually have like a premium where like you collect 20 bases and you sell it all at once. You can sell it for like an extra like 5% more exalt or something like that. I think it'd be cool. But I think to kind of respond to what you're like, what Local Hall was saying, I think as someone who's been on both sides, like the hideout warrior shit, the current system we have is way better than alt spamming. Cause like alt spamming for some, like a lot of shit in PoE 1 is like, it's literally like a 1 in 2K. Or like a 1 in 500 or something like that in order of like of clicks in order or of alteration orbs in order to get the mod that you want.
I mean, it's kind of like fracture chaos spamming.
What's that?
It's kind of like fracture chaos spamming.
Like fracture chaos spamming, yes, exactly. It's very, very similar.
And everyone loves that.
Yeah. But I would say like the cool thing I think specifically about PoE 2 white items versus PoE 1 white items is in PoE 1, you're not picking up any white items ever. What you're doing is like, you're just, I mean, like in PoE 2, you are, because you don't like, you could do this AUG annul thing, but like most leagues, annuls are like a third of a div. They're not normally like 15 annuls for 1 div. So you're rarely actually doing those crafts except for like giga rich endgame crafts on like exceptional bases, right? For the most part, what you're doing is you're like, ooh, I found like an obliterator bow white on the ground, put it into your inventory, do perfect trans, perfect AUG, which you already have in your inventory. Check to see if you hit like, like a 1 in 30 or something for like a good roll of like crit, flat fizz, percentage fizz. And if you hit, awesome. Like you can sell that for like multiple divs, sometimes like 30, 40. And then you just like, if not, you just drop it on the ground. And I think that's like a really cool way of like playing the game where like, you know, you can like, you have like a lot more like mini jackpots. It's like, I remember last league all the time, like I had, it was Warmonger bow that was really meta. And I would just have a filter for Warmonger bows. And every single time I saw an iLevel 82 one, I'd be like, oh shit, this is awesome. Like I get another spin at the, like at the casino for like a tier 1, like a merciless roll or something like that. And if you hit, it's like 40 div. Awesome. And you just sell that. You don't have to do anything else. Or like you can be like, oh, I hit it. Like I'm going to fracture it myself, then try and craft on it, etc. But I feel like that is like something that's missing from like PoE 1, where it's like in PoE 1, at least in my experience, doing like the end game farms, it's like you're pretty much just looking for tinks. Like, and those tinks obviously like are a lot more varied because like a lot of what are they called? What's that thing you put in the map device to like actually juice your maps?
Oh, scarabs.
Yeah, scarabs. Yes, the scarabs themselves end up being tinks, and like there's a lot of more kind of tinks you can get, but you're pretty much just looking for currency drops, and then the occasional tier 0 unique, which is just Headhunter or Mage Blood. And I feel like having things like white bases that are worth like a third of a div is also really cool, where you can just like, you know, you can pick up the Obliterator bow and then you could just like try and get lucky on this, on the perfect perfect dog or whatever, right? I think that is like a cool element of the game that like PoE 2 has that PoE 1 just does not have right now, of just like varied loot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with that, though. I mean, I think there are some things in PoE 1 that we're looking for outside of tinks too. Like, I mean, as a resident cloister, cloister farmer, stack decks farmer, I'm not just looking for tinks in the maps. I'm also looking for other things. So I think certain farms do have an exception, but I completely get what you're saying. It is kind of like that. And yeah, I really do like that there are these white items. And actually, when it comes to like the fracture chaos spamming, we do have it a little bit nicer because we do have greater chaos orbs and perfect chaos orbs. So that helps out with the, instead of having to spam 5,000 chaos orbs, maybe we're only spamming 500.
But in a normal league, though, I feel like those are usually inaccessible for like chaos spamming, right? Because like greater chaos, like perfect chaos orbs normally are like 3 divs, right? And divs are actually like expensive. Like you feel bad spending 3 divs in a normal league.
This league's different.
This league, it's like, yeah, fuck it. Let's just perfect chaos spam like our thing, because chaos orbs are like 10 to 1 div, and 1 div, like I wipe my ass with 1 div. So it's like, let's just go to town.
Yeah.
I mean, but I think that's
perfect chaos is just like for like a whittle slam, right?
Yeah.
I think that I also think that's like, a fair, like maybe like we should make it so that perfect chaos orb is a little bit more accessible to kind of reduce a little bit of that annoyance factor.
I actually agree entirely.
I've always thought that perfect exalts and perfect chaos should both be more accessible. Not dirt cheap common accessible, but they shouldn't be like, because if there's several divines, you're only ever going to use them on like top, like when divines are low, like more rare. Like you're only going to be using those on very specific crafts, and they should be used more frequently for sure.
I think the perfect chaos orb is exactly the best example of that, because most of the time, like last league, there was literally no situation where it was ever cost efficient to use perfect chaos. Not even when you're whittling, because like it was such that like if a whittle was 2 div, the perfect chaos would be 3. So you'd be better off just not using a greater chaos and then doing an extra whittle. Like mathematically, it just made more sense to just never use the perfect chaos. You'd only use it if you were like a giga RM tier or like mirror crafter who had like a ton of funds, and you just like you were racing against someone else and you just like needed to do it faster. But like it's like so inaccessible even for like the high, like it just never made sense to use perfect chaos. And to a certain degree, like that's still kind of true with like the ancient like jawbones and like the ancient whatever, depending on like the cost of like the Omen of Lights. It's like most of the time it just makes more sense to just use an Omen of Light and get a second roll than to use like to use an ancient jawbone and have like the ancient jawbone generally only like doubles the odds of hitting like the rolls that you want that are like high tier. And most of the time Omen of Lights are cheaper. I mean, this league obviously is like an anomaly. I've got no idea what the prices are, but most of the time
jawbones are like 60, lights are like 40. Jawbones like 60, 70, like 60 to 80 actually.
That's crazy.
And lights are 40. Maybe
now it makes sense to do, but I do like I I guess I'm giving examples, but I completely agree with you guys. Like a lot of these currencies, like Perfect Chaos, are just like inaccessible in like a stupid way. Like they're too rare. Like they need to buff the drop rates of them a little bit and make them a little bit more like common, I think.
Yeah, I think Perfect Chaos should be because it's like what you said we were saying earlier. You could basically get the same result by spamming regular Chaos Orbs, but it just takes way longer. And in essence, what you're doing is you're paying a premium for convenience and saving time. So if that's the case, it shouldn't be that much more expensive than a Chaos because they essentially can do the same thing. In most situations, you are using it, but it's just a lot more annoying. Of course, that's a little bit different when it comes to like things like whittling and whatever. But most people, I think, should. I just think that they should have more options for things that are not uber eye-hand crafting, which I think that this league we have taken quite a few steps back on as well, without the homogenization stuff.
Thoughts, Rabbit?
It's like very, very hard to balance around, and this is also the reason why we have been talking about this like for for so much time now. I do think like just going back to the white items thing, I do think, and I agree with you guys, that it's like in a cool state because it's the perfect point. In most ARPGs or whatever, there's so many items, and especially white items, that are just left on the ground and never picked up or whatever. And at that point, why even have them? And I think the orc spamming, even for campaign, because I'm starting to look at the game a little bit different in the most recent weeks due to the HCSSF thing and whatever. And even in the campaign, it just makes the campaign much more interesting, because right now you're getting a lot more transmutation orbs and augmentation orbs right now in the campaign as well. And most of the time, what I just do is, I get an energy shield white base when I'm playing an energy shield character, and I'm always just going transmute and aug, or just at least go one transmute or something, as long as you have like 20 plus or something in your inventory. And that just adds another layer to the game that is just also very cool. It's not the same as just dropping a rare chest at level 30 and being like, holy shit, that is the best thing ever that I've seen. But sometimes it just introduces the player into mechanics that they should be introduced to as well. And it's just like, yeah, this white item, use a transmute. Oh, damn, it hit maximum life or whatever you wanted. I hit the augment, boom. Okay, this might be worth to regal now, or use an essence on. And it's just, I think that is a system that PoE 2 is very close to nailing already.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I'm someone who has not been a crafter, and this is my first league crafting because of Prada's filter and white base low rarity farming videos he put out. And what that does is that when you start doing it at a high level, is like, I know what items are good for my build, but I don't know what items are good for all these other builds. And when you're slamming on these white bases, you very quickly learn what items with certain roles are valuable. And it eases you into crafting. Like, I've made hundreds and hundreds of divines, probably a mirror worth of divines, just picking up white bases and perfect slamming them with just an aug and a trans. And if it was good, like, I would just, you get random weapons that will hit with like plus something to projectile skills and physical damage on it that sells for 35 divine. And it's like, okay, now I'm starting to learn what I'm looking for bows. I've never played bow builds, but now I'm looking for on bows, and now I'm learning what sells good on talismans. So as someone who's a noob at crafting, a complete noob, I'm starting to learn what items sell well for other classes. So it is definitely, at least from my perspective, a good gateway into learning trading and learning how to make crafting and stuff. So I like it a lot personally.
And the game, and this is something that I have like as a negative a lot about the game. I think the game needs to do a better job at introducing, especially newer players, into certain mechanics of the game a lot. I think the temple was, for example, even though I really like the temple, I do think that there needed to be a little bit of more explanations to how the temple works and how you could do it in a certain way, and it needs to just be more intuitive, I think is the best word. And overall, I think this is like a critique that I definitely have of the game still, that it needs to do a better job of introducing the player intuitively into certain certain mechanics like that and into certain interactions. And that is why I also said like that one is probably one of the best ones that they can hopefully use in the future to see, oh, this is like a lot of players are now actually using the augmentation orbs and the transmutation orbs, and then maybe even using an essence, then putting a desecration on there, and then you have how many more slams left? 2 or something. And yeah, it just needs to also go into some other stuff in the game, and the player just needs to be introduced better, I think. And that starts in campaign, just like we have introductions into the Val Temple in campaign, into the Abyss or whatever. Some more of this stuff needs to be a little bit more intuitive, because after all, PoE2's whole like USP and goal was to be a PoE1 basically, but have more people introduced into the game without quitting after 2 days because it feels so convoluted to them. So that is what PoE2 was set out to be, because otherwise, why does the game exist, right? Because PoE1 is pretty much the perfect ARPG.
I mean, if we think about it this way, they're definitely leaps and bounds better than what they used to be with PoE1. Like, we're getting way more explanations for how to do different things, and like the little things are a lot more intuitive, which is good. But you keep going in that direction, and we've seen it like with Temple, right? They've added like the thing where you hold down the Alt key and you can see like the different upgrades you can do for the Temple and stuff like that. So they're getting in the right direction. But I also do want to address something. I saw this in chat. There is a difference between something like Omen of Light farming and pulling something out of the Abyss versus something like a core system that everybody interacts with, like crafting. I think it's really because I think it's about like people are saying that, oh, the Omen of Light pulling out thing was like really convoluted and like it shouldn't be that confusing or whatever. But it's a little bit different because that's an end game system that, people, it's not about like it's not a base thing that everybody's interacting with. It's like kind of like an Easter egg, right? It's a little bit like of an Easter egg where it's like you figure these things out as you go. It's the same thing with like Rite of Passage and Wisp. Nobody complained about Rite of Passage and Wisp. Like nobody, like it's not like they've told us, hey, you put a Wisp onto a rare monster, that's how you drop a Rite of Passage. Nobody complains about that. These are Easter eggs that, in the end game you learn and then becomes knowledge that is disseminated across the player base that I think is, things that players should look for. There is a level of like, you can't tell players every single thing. Like, and it doesn't happen in most games. Like, it's not like every single game they tell you the loot pool, the drop pool of every single monster in the game either. How do we know that Arbor Ash drops, I don't know, Prism of Belief? We didn't know it until people killed it, right? We didn't know until people killed it enough times. But different things like that, I think that there are things that should be explained. Like, this is core to every player's experience. And without this, you're missing a huge part of the game. Versus something that's like min-maxy or like, something that is very much an end game, uber end game thing that rewards players for exploration. It's a difference between rewarding players for exploration versus feeling extremely handicapped if you don't know it.
Great.
Well said, Farmer.
Well,
Thanks, Miso.
We will talk about it just briefly, but myself and Rabbit have dove into our hardcore journeys. We've both been having a lot of fun. We both had our first deaths. My first death was yesterday in the Timmy League. My first character's still alive, though, but I died in Timmy League. I got vomited on by the Vulture. I actually had a really beefy character. Like, it was way beefier than my current hardcore character that's in the main league that's still alive. And I was like, I'm just going to fart my way through Act 4. And the Vulture did the vomit, like, projectile thing, and I was like 88% PDR, is at like 1300 life, and it just one shot. I was like, oh, okay, well, this run's over. So I started a new character today for the Timmy League, but I've been having an absolute blast in hardcore. I think we'll probably dive more into hardcore next week. But I do want to talk about, specifically my experience with playing hardcore in the solo self-found environment is runes and sockets. I fucking hate runes and sockets throughout the campaign when you're starved for them. It feels miserable. Like it is almost always a situation where I don't know if I want to put this artificer orb and this rune into this item because there could be a brand new item around the corner. Like I feel constantly starved for them. Now, there are ways you can get more artificer orbs in the campaign. Like I think it's like once they start dropping, it's like every 3 maps you get a new artificer orb, so you can get a lot of them. But it's not enough to where you're keeping up with how much gears that's dropping. But even beyond the artificer orbs themselves, it's the runes. Like I am never getting the runes I want, and if I need lightning res, I don't have the lightning runes. I really hate the rune system for the campaign and in a solo self-found environment, and it's just because the scarcity is just so damn high, and you're replacing gear so fast. Like you're constantly looking for upgrades in this environment. You're constantly wanting to 3-to-1 stuff, and there have been times where it's like, if I get rid of this item, this chest piece that I have 2 sockets on, that sucks. Or you have a weapon that's like, I don't know if this weapon's going to be better without the sockets and stuff. It's a real drought for that. So that's been my biggest complaint from my experience. I know you've been having a lot of struggles with crafting yourself in the campaign, Rabbit, but for me, it's been specifically runes that were my complaint.
Crafting bench.
It's just
oh, sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Get his ass.
They decided for the rune system to basically be the crafting bench for PvE2, right? But if that is supposed to be what it is for PoE1, the scarcity is just so high, and it's already so much better. When you're going slow in campaign now with the runs that I've had in HCSSF and now in the Timmy League, I'm going very, very slow because I'm just not that used to hardcore yet. So I'm like over leveling, over farming every zone. I'm going very, very slow because I just want to make it into endgame with that character that I started on. I'm not really going for the rush approach. Then it's actually kind of fine, just based on the runes. It's just easily solvable as well, in my opinion. And with a system that already is in the game, and that is blank runes. It is just why are we not just dropping some blank runes over and over again, and then you could just go to a vendor or whatever, and you're able, or just have vendors sell some of them. It will cost gold. You are gold starved already in the campaign. And let's say if a iron rune or a lesser iron rune in Act 1 costs like 1,000 gold or 500, even 500 gold, it's not just free, but it would just make itemization. And that is once again something where I think like introducing players into a system comes into play. It is just once again something that is just part of the game and that people should be using during the campaign. It's like, this is the rune system. Please, if you need fire res, put this rune into your gear piece. Just like artificial orbs, it's easily solvable. Just get like some more guaranteed artificial orbs. Why have the system if you're not like giving it? It's a little bit like the discussion about regal orbs, for example. For me, on a fresh character, when I go through the campaign, the biggest pain point is for some reason always regal orbs. And then people go,
yeah,
what? You just need to disenchant. No, it doesn't work like if you disenchant every single rare piece that you have, that's your gold gone. And then you can't gamble for gear, or you can like buy stuff on vendors. It's just, it doesn't really work like that. And why have a system like the crafting system or the rune system in the game if you're not really introducing the player into these mechanics in the campaign? It's just frustrating in the campaign. I'm playing mostly caster builds, and you are so heavily reliant on RNG during those runs in the campaign. If it's a fresh character and you don't have twin gear, you are heavily reliant on RNG. It decides if your campaign run is 6 hours or 10 hours. Just because you found a good weapon by chance. It would be so much cooler to have at least a little bit of determinism when it comes to having that stuff in the campaign to make it just a little bit more enjoyable, I think. It's not about making the campaign easier, it's making the campaign more enjoyable, I think.
Great Andy's come to hardcore solo self-found and are trying to ruin the environment by increasing the scarcity, reducing.
I mean, it's not even just it's not even just a hardcore solo self-found issue. I think like even when
Exactly.
you're talking about like your first character of the league or something like that, it's an issue. And it's Jonathan says that runes are the replacement for crafting bench, but the biggest difference between runes and crafting bench is that runes are so crafting bench, it's very accessible in the sense that you can get anything like your augments, the basic currency you drop off the ground is basically like a blank rune. You can turn it into anything. But the problem is right now it's like exactly what you guys are saying, that if you don't drop that glacial rune or something like that, you'll never be able to get something for cold resistance. It's just not possible. So yeah, and I think we've talked about this before about like the solutions, but I do think like more blank runes, or at least putting the basic lesser runes in a shop, could help out a ton with this, and alleviate a lot of that friction and a lot of that inability to get in certain things, and make it more similar to a crafting bench feel, where it's like you're not waiting for a specific drop to actually be able to get that affix or whatever. It's just you're getting stuff as you're playing, and then you choose what you want.
Yeah, I agree with you. As someone who really doesn't play the game that much, I always think, like, why the fuck is it so hard to like I feel like I'm always, maybe it's like I have the wrong mindset. Like I'm a greedy ass like dragon who like likes to sit on his pile of gold. But in the campaign, I always feel like, nah, I shouldn't use my runes now, because it's like, what if I
never know when you're gonna get another one?
Yeah, like my weapon sucks. It's like mid, but like realistically, like that mid weapon is going to be what you're going to be using for like at least 10, 15 levels. So it's like ideally you do want to like slam some like desert runes or whatever to get some like a little bit more damage on there. But it's like, God, who knows? Like, like this is really bad. Like this is not great. Like I could, any rare item has like probably a 50% chance to be like a significant upgrade on this. But it's like, well, you might not get a rare bow for like the next 10 levels, and that's just going to happen, right? So it's too scarce. I agree, especially for like campaign. Like I kind of get like at the higher end, making like the greater runes a little bit rarer. That way, like you only really get them in maps. And like there is like some sort of like monetary value to them, because I think the economy is important. But I think in the campaign, like why not just give us like, why not just like let us shit out like lesser desert runes, or like lesser runes in general, or like Rabbit said, give us some like blank runes that are only like the lesser, or like the mid, like the tier 3 or the tier 2 runes, like the lower 2 tier runes. Why not just give us a bunch of blank runes like that you can buy in vendor, or just let them drop, what am I gonna do with like the fucking 30 decks and runes that I get every single campaign? Like I'm not using that shit, man. Like who cares?
I mean, if you think about it this way too, right? From the economy standpoint, there's no reason to ever give there's no reason for us to not get lesser runes and maybe the middle tier runes, because we don't even get Ange until Act 4 anyways. By then we're done using the lesser runes and the middle tier runes, right? So it's like, the economy aspect of it doesn't even matter for those runes, because we can't even like nobody's buying you can't even list them on the marketplace without Ange. So and you don't get her until Act 4. So yeah, there's no reason. There's zero reason.
Agreed.
It's pretty funny too. Sometimes it depends on which low tier rune you're buying, but they have value. Like at this point in the league, because no one's leveling, right? You can't actually find low level runes on the market anymore. So it's just, and I agree completely. I think the perfect thing that was said is, if suddenly everyone's campaign was dropping 100 plus more lesser runes, what does that do to the economy? Fucking nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. Like it does nothing. It just means everyone gets fucking runes. Like it's only good. Like unless the GGG's philosophy around the runes is they should be scarce, and that should be a very tough choice what you're putting it in, which I think we can all agree that shouldn't be what the system's designed for. It should just. I mean, I've always said they should just be from the vendor. Like, I would not be upset if I was spending 1,000 to 500 gold. Like, it makes I love that there is some choice. There should be a choice. Do I vendor this rare, or do I disenchant it? That should always be a choice. And if I'm having to spend money on runes, I'm gonna be vendoring stuff for sure. Like, that's a good thing to be buying.
It's the same thing for uncut gems. I think uncut gems should either be up until level 14, venerable, or if you have a level 19 uncut skill gem, you can cut every single level up until level 19. I should not be paying
Agreed.
20 divs for a level 8 spirit gem. That just shouldn't happen.
It's crazy. It's crazy. It's so dumb that that's the case. It's the same for level 14 gems too. Because certain gems you only want at like the minimum level because of how they scale. Like certain builds you want the low level of Archmage. And it's like buying level 14 gems or several divs for spirit gems. It's like that shouldn't be the case. I agree completely that if I have a level 19 gem, I should be able to downgrade it. That would be, there's no reason why I shouldn't be able to cut it for any level I want. But yeah, that's cool. Let's talk about cast on crit builds. I think we've all played cast on crit builds at some point, right? Right now, like anytime I see a cast on crit comet build and I think, oh, that looks cool because the engine behind it is what's setting up the cast on crit, right? But all the comments are like, oh, another cast on crit comet build. Like this sucks. It's like, no, it's still a cool build that this person's showing off, but all cast on builds are basically forced into going comet right now. It's also one of the best ways to just get absurd amounts of single target damage is just through a comet storm, a high level comet. And we're starting to see the demands of like that cast on crit meta needs to be nerfed, comet needs to be nerfed. Do we think that's the case? My hope is that GGG just gives us more stuff that is closer to Comet's level. I do think it needs to be slapped down a bit because like you can do crazy stuff with it, but I think that cast on crit's not the problem myself. I think it's that everything else that you can put in Comet sucks for it. So
yeah, I think it's just the problem is Comet. Comet's too broken, and like the way they balance Comet is that it has a really big cast time and it costs a lot of mana. But Cock just negates all of
and
that.
you can make an infusion farm within the Cock too. You just put Living
Right.
Bomb in it and it just and buffs itself. So
yeah, you got to buff your Cock these days. That's for sure. But
Indeed.
yeah, I
Gotta light your cock on fire.
Guys, yeah.
maybe you are twins. Maybe you are twins. You both talk the same.
Yeah,
Huh?
you do. Rabbit's right. You gotta have, if your cock's on fire, it's a good thing this league for sure.
It's more damage. It's more damage.
It's
Goes
definitely
deeper.
damage. Just like in real life, having that fiery cock, that's the most damage you can do.
Come on, guys. What are we, like 5 years old? Let's keep it mature in here, all right?
This is your stream. This is your stream out the norm. What are you talking about? This is normal miso talk.
I want to talk about my stream is family friendly. It's very family friendly.
You want to hear? Never mind.
Yeah, never mind. Yeah. What are your thoughts on this though?
You want to know what my build ideas was for a name? Because we go mom.
Oh
No.
We already know. We already know where you're going.
Okay.
Full mind over matter build. Yeah. Okay. What do you think about the cast on critical builds, Farmer? And comment.
Oh, I think they're just too strong. Truthfully, like and they have been, like even last league they were too strong, right? And I think there's like some new tech that you can use this league that makes it even stronger. In some ways, actually that's not true. Last league it was way strong with the fucking infinite life regen shit. I mean, you can still get
Adalui scaling like crazy and everything.
Yeah. But I think this league it's still too strong. Like it's just too fucking strong, right? Like I don't think that there's like really an argument there that it's like if like think about like this: if Fub Gun does not exist, right? We Thanos snap him pre-league out of the universe. Like I'm talking like 50% of players are playing Cock of some sort.
It's a
right?
lot.
Cock Comet, right? Like it's crazy. It's too good. And if you look at the fucking damage this shit does, and another thing is like the Doge Rays unending, like that loop thing. It's like it's too good, right? Because you get everything from that. Like you can get like infinite. Anyways, I think it's too powerful, and they need to nerf it. Like you don't like with how cool this league was with like the Druid builds and blah blah blah. It shouldn't just be like, you're playing Cock Comet or like you're kind of trolling yourself in the sense of like it's so much more efficient than everything else because you open yourself up to like being a Temporalis Blink user, or even if without Temporalis, you just still have like you can get low CD Blink, blah blah blah, and it's like pretty cheap to get going. It's just too broken. I think a nerf would be good, or like buffing other stuff, but realistically nerfing it. But knowing GGG, like they don't just do like light nerfs. You know, it's either like we leave it as is, or we're taking that shit out back behind the shed and giving it the treatment.
I mean, it says something that even when Comet wasn't that popular, Comet Prism of Beliefs were always like extremely expensive. It's just that this league, probably because of Flubgun, I mean, he at least didn't help the issue. I mean, it's not an issue, but it's just like, Flubgun bringing some of this cock stuff into the, I guess, the eyes of the people, that it really is just something that has been exploded in popularity, and it's one of the reasons why we have so many people playing it. I think the temple itself also lends towards like more of a, cock play style, the way everything is, and like especially because like temple kind of has a mixture of like some really, I mean, it's not as hard anymore, but still we have some pretty beefy mobs, and at the same time you do value having really good clear as well. And some of the best ways to get that is just Comet. You get both. You get the best of both worlds. Get your clear from your sparks, and then you get the single target from the comets.
Yeah.
It's crazy because I was playing Comet last patch in 0.3. I was doing Dodre's, cast on crit on a Blood Mage in 0.3, and it was insane last patch, and I thought it was going to get nerfed in this patch. It's why I didn't play it for so long into the league, is it was just like, I just assumed it got gutted, and it is still as insane, if not more insane. It's really good in the temple because you can get the curse AoE radius so big, so it cakes the entire screen, and then you just get so much crits from it. I don't know if like Blood Mage makes the problem worse, and like Oracle, because those two just make it so where it's so easy to get cock builds online. Like, I don't want cock builds to be deleted, but like Farmer said, GGG doesn't like, they don't do light nerfs, right? Like if they are going to address cocks, they're gone, right? Like, sorry. Cast on crit builds. I gotta stop.
That shit, you feel me?
Guys, listen. I don't have the gooner brains you guys have. I promise. We're just talking about cast on critical builds.
Open up that notepad right now. Get that notepad out right now.
Taking us back to China. They're like the olden days.
My notepad is full of a bunch of game dev notes. Don't worry. It's a bunch of boring shit about card games. Don't worry about it. But yeah, no, I don't want cast on crit builds to be to be deleted. But it feels like that's where we're headed, because Miso is 100% right. If you want good clear and good single target, you play a cast on crit build, and there's multiple variations that get you both clear and single target, and they all end in Comet though.
Yeah. I think Comet's the issue, honestly. Like if they just like make Comet unplayable, which they probably will, I think Cock would be in a more healthy place.
He's holding himself back. I can't say
our cast on crit will be a lot healthier.
Thoughts, Rabbit?
I'm always, whenever, and I think like overall, we're always gonna go back to a conversation like this every single league, or every few months. We're always gonna be having the same conversation over and over again, because there's always going to be a meta, and there's always going to be one thing that is supposed to be the meta defining or the best build, and we're always going to have this conversation again and being like, wait, is Axe too strong this league? Does it need to get nerfed? That's like the preface of everything. It's always going to happen. We're always going to have a meta. There's always going to be a certain skill or an archetype or whatever that's going to be the dominant one in the league. The game is never going to be balanced. That is not the goal of it. So still, I always, when this like conversation is going on, I'm always a proponent of, instead of cutting off the top, raising the floor a little bit. I think it would be the best approach to get other stuff in a range where more people feel enticed to play it, like they play COC Comet. On the same note, it is too strong. It needs to get nerfed. That's
I feel
basically my whole like TLDR of my take here.
I feel like GGG does this weird thing where like they nerf things to be like unplayable. Like, and I 100% agree with you on like the buffing more things stuff. Like, especially with like endgame juice, right? Like, instead of just like nerfing the shit out of Abyss, which they did, and it definitely need to get nerfed, like they should nerf Abyss and then like make the other stuff a little bit better. They should nerf Temple and then also make like it just feels kind of like it's like this, right? We have our ceiling here and we have our basement here, and it's just like it just keeps on like swapping things, you know, like this.
Yeah.
Like, one thing gets lower, the other thing gets like insanely OP. But like they should just like normalize it a little bit, you know, in the sense of like Comet is like way too powerful, and like it shouldn't just be like one-shotting everything on like a 10 div budget. But at the same time, like why not just make the other builds like more powerful too? So it's not like just Comet sucks. It's like game sucks now. It's like okay, Comet isn't the most broken thing. Everything else is better. Like you don't just have to do Temple farm, and you can do like this other thing. Or it's like right now it's like Temple Abyss Ritual, but like you can't really like I don't know. I just feel like it's too polarized right now. I wish it was a little bit more in the middle, because especially like a game like PoE 2, right? Where like the end game isn't as fleshed out. So like you actually don't need that much strength to like actually, you know, clear all end game content, you know? So having like Comet be like just giga broken on a budget, unnecessary. Like, you can bring that down a little bit. But I do agree, like why not just bring up the other stuff a little bit more? Like the stuff that like is a little bit underpowered right now, why not just like bring that up and like make it a little bit more balanced? I agree with you.
Mm-hmm. I think when it comes to nerfing and buffing things, it is a tightrope at the end of the day, because right now I think there are still a lot of stuff that's really underpowered, and I think a lot of it does need to go up. So I completely agree with it. But when it comes to nerfing and buffing, it really is a walking on a tightrope, because you can't just only buff things, because at some point certain things will get buffed and then they will get over buffed, I guess, if that makes sense, because it's hard to get balance exactly right. Balance is extremely hard to get exactly right. Sometimes you buff something and you think it's only going to go up, 5x power, but in reality, it's going to go up 50x power because of some weird interaction that they just didn't know about. And that becomes the new meta. And then what are you going to do? Are you going to buff everything to match that 50x power? No, you're going to go nerf that thing that's 50x power, right? Because at some point, if you just keep buffing things are just going to get power crept. And then now you got to increase the health of the monsters. And then, now the monster's getting harder and harder and harder and harder. So everything is going to move up and up and up, infinitely scaling upwards. So nerfs are necessary, unfortunately, at the end of the day. And also, I always say this, but when there is a meta and something is the number one thing, right? The number 2, number 3, number 4 thing might not be that far off of that number 1 thing, but it ends up just being everybody else is playing that number 1 thing. So you're not going to push up everything like 30 skills up to the number 1. You're going to take the number 1 down, so that now there's a lot more things that are playable now, comparatively. So sadly, at the end of the day, again, the buffing and nerfing is a really much a tightrope act, because you can't just buff everything. You have to hit the nerfs every now and then in order to keep the balance at a good level. But I don't think we're at that level yet. I think there are a lot of things that are really, really underpowered that do need to get pushed up and brought up to the level of everything else.
Agreed. I don't think it's overpowered to the point that it needs to be gutted, personally, but it feels like that's what's going to happen. But there are more things that are really bad.
I also think that it's and I was going to make this point earlier and I forgot, but I think the main problem is not that it's overpowered. The main problem is the fact it's been so powerful for so many leagues. There's nothing wrong with something being meta and overpowered for a league and then it getting touched and brought down on the peg for the next league. The problem is when something becomes the meta or like is extremely powerful for like 10 leagues, not 10, but like 4 leagues in a row.
Yeah, I agree. And I agree with you entirely. Like, you do have the nerf stuff, but like fucking normalize that. Like it doesn't have to be like such a huge gap, like why can't you just like nerf Comet to where it's like underpowered, maybe like not like Dedge. It's like every time there's something broken, next league Dedge. Like it could just be like, you know,
I
it's
also
broken
think-
this league. The next league, it's just like kind of bad, but still playable, you know?
I also think it's a little bit of an over exaggeration. I think it's a little bit over exaggerated too, because there are definitely times when something gets nerfed to a point where it is dead, but I don't think that actually happens as often as we think it does. It's just more of a player perception thing. Like for example, Lightning Spear was plenty playable after it got nerfed, but nobody played it. Same with Lightning Arrow. You know, it's plenty playable, but nobody's playing it. They're not dead. They're still good. They're just not like at the top of the meta anymore. They're like, you know, mid tier.
I think you're right, actually, but I think to a certain degree. Never mind. I think I actually.
Are you getting? Hold on. Are you getting lower each second? What is happening? Did you start the podcast this far down, man?
Getting the rabbit?
No, you, man.
Look, listen. I'm just trying to get comfortable. You know, like what's wrong? Like you can still see my head, right?
Barely. Your mouth's being covered by your name now. I know it didn't start that way, right?
Let me just tilt this down a little bit more.
That hurts my back. I can't do that. I'm too old
All right,
for that.
sorry.
Well, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead, Farmer.
Yeah, no. Thank you for that. Actually, let me be a little bit more presentable.
I can't do it. Oh, okay.
Let me set up with good posture. Didn't know we were being judged. I didn't know this was like a child beauty pageant. Checking out our posture and shit.
Sorry,
But no, I agree with you guys.
Oh, it's
entirely.
definitely not a beauty pageant in here.
I think you guys are handsome. Just want to put that out there. Not anymore. I don't know
My
why did I
concern
say
is...
that. And everyone was like, really? You think so?
Yeah. My concern is as someone who like I've tried playing Comet plenty of times as not in cast on builds, just doing the hard cast and just because it's fun. It just seems that like Comet's almost designed to be put on cast on builds, and if you nerf it, it's going to nerf it when you don't play it in non-cast on builds. So that just makes me sad because I've had a few builds where I've hard cast Comet and those have been fun, but I don't want those getting nerfed.
I agree.
I'm silly though. I don't know if we want to dive into the hardcore discussion. We'll probably save that next week since that's just mainly been me and Rabbit playing that. Is there anything anyone else wants to talk about before you wrap up? I think that's everything on the list. Okay. Well, then we'll just dive into build of the week. We will start with mine. I'm showcasing an Infernal. I don't know if we've actually showcased a build from Funky Chicken before on our podcast.
I don't think
I've
so.
seen a few of his build before. I think he league started plants, and that's why I was watching.
I
his
think
content
I
this
actually
week,
did
but,
one.
Did you?
I think
did you
I
league
actually
start?
did one.
I'm not sure
Because I
if we
remember
showcased on
him
the
being
pod
in my
before.
chat and saying you showcased my build. I actually think I did one. When I used to actually submit builds of the week, I think I showcased one of them.
I hope it's not this build. Then I hope I didn't repeat on a rabbit build. But this is a Shield Wall Infernalist build. I think it is a really cool. I mean, I love when you see like the archetypes not on the classes you expect them to. You don't normally see Shield Wall on an Infernalist, and he's doing a fun charge technique where he is farming endurance charges for Nebulok. We've seen Nebulok guaranteed crit builds before. He's doing that with Shield Charge. He's using Red Flare Conduit and Coward's Legacy. Really fun uniques. Of course, he's it's another Vertex build, but it ended up being a really flashy build. It ended up being really tanky because it's on an Infernalist. Yeah, I know it was just a really cool variation of a Shield Wall archetype. He cleared all the content. He's farming a Juice Temple with it. I love it because I love lineage support gem stacking builds. He has 5 lineage support gems inside of Shield Wall, which is always just makes me laugh. So yeah, it was just a really cool build. Yeah, shout out to Funky Chicken.
Nice.
It's probably one of the highest like burst damages I've seen on Shield Wall. So
Yeah.
It's
Just
really
one
well
shot.
made. It's cool.
Yeah. Usually Shield Wall, I think most of the time, and this is also why it's like a very, very popular build in hardcore and SSF. it's kind of like ED Contagion or maybe even Plants a little bit. It's definitely a good league starter, but then it's probably something you'll transition into something else eventually. And I always like seeing those basically league starter builds being pushed to the absolute limit, because I basically never do it. Because most of the time I switch into something that is more of an endgame build like that. For example, like for the Plants build this league, I didn't really push it that far, and then Rex kind of pushed it even further than I did on that. And this is like the other example for that. It's cool to very, very, very cool to see.
It's a good example of that. Like, this is pushed to the limit. He has Adorned, he has Vertex, he's got +3 Prism of Belief. Like, this is something I like. We're going to talk about probably next week, so I want to have a build making discussion, but it's something that I really missed out on this week by re-rolling so much. I very much regret not pushing a single build to its absolute limit this patch. And when I look at this, I'm jealous. Like, this is very well, like, this is exactly that. It is a starter build that someone did not stop. He started and he did not stop, and this is cooked. It's really cool. Well done.
Always very cool to see.
Cooked it a good way, not a bad way.
You were gonna say something, Miso? Yeah, in a good way, yes. Yeah. The chef cooked something delicious here. Mm-hmm. Did you want to add anything, Miso?
No.
Farmer? No. All right, Miso, your build then.
Yeah. So I was gonna put a different build, but this was a build that in the past couple days chat actually showed me. And
Funky Chicken's in the chat. Sorry, I want shout out to Funky Chicken in the chat.
Shout outs to you, sir. But this is a really cool build by JMac. I feel like we've featured him before. I don't remember. But either way, he's got a really, really cool Wyvern build. It's a whirling slash Wyvern build, whirling slash for mobility, kind of like, what I know Prada does a lot. But he uses Oil Barrage, and it just absolutely destroys everything. It's amazing at clear, amazing at single target. So basically, I think the tech is mostly just that Oil Barrage is extremely strong, but he's also, putting things like, I think Fork and Chain or Ricochet on his Oil Barrage. That just makes it do ridiculous amounts of clear and a ridiculous amount of damage to both AoE and single target. It's
what's he mapping? What's the mapping look like?
The mapping? Oh, the mapping is even crazier. Let me get us to mapping.
I just want to say real quick, because we're almost at the end of the podcast, I just want to say it kind of looks like a build that I played in my favorite game of all time, Diablo 2, the Java Zone. So it looks a little bit like that. Yeah, I went almost a full episode without mentioning Diablo 2, and I can't have that streak die. So kind of looks like Diablo 2, favorite game of all time, best game of all time. It's a Java Zone, Diablo 2.
Yeah.
Diablo 2.
Yeah. Oh, so he does. So this is on Amazon. So the Amazon, but I think some of the other tech that's in the video is that Oil Barrage. I think originally starts by it's a channeling skill that fires 3 projectiles, right? So the cool thing is he uses salvo.
Jesus.
He uses salvo, which normally is kind of like it's like what is it called? What's the thing for spells that like gives you charges? Seals.
Unleash.
Hellslinger?
Unleash, yeah, it's like unleash basically, Unleash? Right?
Okay.
Where you charge up charges, and then afterwards you get to unleash additional projectiles. But the thing is, because Oil Barrage is a channeled skill, it snapshots the salvo. So the entire Oil Barrage shoots those additional projectiles, and then he combines it with Nova to make it so that it shoots everywhere. And I think it's a pretty cool tech to really take advantage of that snapshotting.
That's cool. So it's only work with channel skills. Yeah, that's sick.
It's the reason why it's so good is because the channel skills snapshots that salvo and basically gives you that additional projectiles without the downsides of normally what you would do for additional projectiles, right? With like multi-shot or other things like that are a little bit more clunky, or even Nova projectiles too, for example.
And Whirling Assault for mobility.
Yeah, Whirling Assault for mobility. Assault, he has a version that's
slash.
Yeah, somebody asked him. I think he uploaded a new video yesterday, actually, or a couple like within the past 24 hours. that basically used Oracle because somebody was like, "Hey, would this build be better on Oracle?" And that's an option for those of you guys, because I know some people don't like the Whirling Assault stuff or Whirling Slash stuff. They feel it's a little bit clunky. So the Oracle version is also a possibility where you go cooldown reduction and just use a mixture of Pounce and Blink to get your mobility instead of doing the Whirling
I was
Assault.
supposed to say, why Oracle? I see.
Yeah, and of course, inevitable crits, making everything do a lot more damage. I mean, actually, I'm surprised we didn't talk about Oracle in like the balance of Oracle. Maybe we'll talk about that in the future episode.
We can do that next episode, yeah,
Yeah.
because Oracle's one of those ones for sure. This is a sick build.
Yeah, it was super cool, super flashy. I think the MTX makes it look a little bit extra flashy, but you know, it's really awesome. I really like it.
Yeah, who is it? J Max.
Yeah, JMac.
J Mac. Shout outs, J Mac. Sick build, man. Cool. Well, thanks for coming on again, Farmer. I hope you enjoy whatever you get up to with TFT, and if you play the next PoE1 league, and we'll eventually have you back on sometime 0.5 probably, because it's always a blast.
Basically, fourth member of the podcast by now.
Always a pleasure. Yeah, thanks, Farmer, for having you on. It's always a pleasure to have you. Bottom left over there.
Thank you, Mr. Miso. Appreciate it.
Yeah. If you guys ever need your windshield washed, just stop by the red light on 4th Street. I'm always there with my squeegee and 50 cents, whatever you can give me. Like, just drop me like a few Exile orbs even. Like, that's all I really need. Every little bit counts. God bless. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, no, it's always a pleasure. And we should definitely do that idea of just like playing a game together. I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah.
Especially because
Baldur's Gate 3.
Was it?
Baldur's Gate 3? Could
I
be a
never played it.
possibility.
Never played it as well.
We can definitely look into it.
Yeah.
Maybe a little. Yeah, who knows? Anyways,
I heard that's a good game.
Some people like it.
It's a small little game.
Wasn't it a Game of the Year contender at one point?
It won, I'm pretty sure. I think it won like 90% of the games awards that year or something.
Holy
it was
shit.
massive.
Game Awards. Sorry, take. I don't know if that's a hot take. Game Awards fucking suck. Sorry, that's my take. That shit is awful. I watched them. I was forced to watch them because they had like a drop or something for PoE.
Oh yeah, you guys watched it.
So I watched that.
Together,
I watched it together with Farmer.
I quit.
I honestly, I don't think I've ever had like an experience this bad before.
Yeah.
I watched for like an hour with
that was
you guys,
the worst shit I've ever seen.
No way.
That's when I realized,
early.
Money ain't everything, like there's some things that are more valuable than money, like your sanity.
Farmer just did the smart thing and just tapped out. It was just like, no. That shit does not count for like for any wins. I think like even the Oscars have more merit in my opinion. No. Okay, I might be banned now forever, or if it ever comes to the point where no. Jeff Keighley, just no. No.
Hey, Usme got mobile game of the year, and that's all that matters to me.
Sorry, you seem like a very nice guy, though.
Miso is happy. Any shout outs, Farmer? Before we close
shout out my mom and dad.
Where can people find you?
Birthing me. Haley.
Shout out to Farmer mom and dad.
Shout out to Haley for not breaking up with me.
Oh, people actually said, by the way, we should have Haley on the podcast.
Oh, that would be hilarious.
Yes.
That would be actually so funny. Just like as like a what's it like to date someone who plays PoE?
Oh, that'd be awesome. Do a little small segment.
Yeah.
Next time I come on,
that sounds like a
deal.
Yep.
That sounds like a Blazeworks TV, a Blaze podcast to me.
Yeah.
I think Blaze would handle that one well.
I'm not kidding about that. We should actually do that.
Actually do that. That'd be a funny Blaze one.
How does it feel to be on the other side of the biggest gaslighter of all time?
She'll be like, fuck PoE, ruined my life. Yeah. No, I'm down.
All right.
Rabbit, go ahead and get your shout outs.
Hello. I stream Path of Exile 2 every single day on my Twitch, which is, I think, linked under these podcasts. I would guess so. Yeah. Every day, same time. Path of Exile 2. Sorry, Jeff Keighley. I'm sorry.
It's too late. It's done. Damage is done.
He already knows. He already knows.
You're on a list.
As long as I get to ExileCon and I'm not getting uninvited to ExileCon, I'm fine. I fuck the Game Awards.
Maybe he's the host of ExileCon and now you're blacklisted.
Oh
Rabbit,
no!
So.
Yeah, I didn't
know about that.
I didn't mean specifically him. I meant like the concept, like the.
Nah,
Fuck.
dude, I think you fucked your whole career up. And you're done.
It's over. You're done.
You're better off saying the T word, man. What have you done? What have you done?
T word.
Oh, bunch of tourists, man.
What the hell? It's my turn. Oh, all right. You can find me on YouTube. I'm making my next Zero to Mirror video very, very soon. And
oh yeah.
Definitely,
if you
what the
I
hell?
got baited by the racism. Never mind.
Racism.
I thought you were for a second there. I literally thought you were doing a Zero to Mirror. I was like, oh hell yeah, let's go, Miso. That sounds awesome. Nope, got baited.
We're just so used to the Miso racism, you know. Like I feel you. I'm used to that as well. You should see some of his DMs to me. It's some heinous stuff, boys. Yeah.
Whoa! Can't lie about that stuff. You can get canceled.
That's true. I'm just kidding. It's not that racist.
It's not that racist. Just somewhat racist, slightly racist.
What is this podcast?
Yeah, it's not that racist. It's like.
All right, maybe this is the last time Farmer is on. Maybe.
What the hell?
Well, we do need Haley on here too. Like, what the fuck?
Gotta keep him reined in.
My bad.
What the hell? But
that was,
yeah,
that was the intrusive thoughts. It just came out.
Yeah, no. MisoXShiru. Find me on twitch.tv/MisoXShiru, YouTube MisoXShiru. Stream every single day or every single night. And I'm not the guy who's making your Zero to Mirrors and crafting videos. So if you see one of those and think it's me, it's probably not me. You got to go to the XTheFarmerX guy. Yep. It's always a pleasure to have you, Farmer.
Thank you guys. It's always a pleasure to be on. You guys are the goats. Best podcast in the business. I think you guys are about to overtake.
I think we're the only podcast.
Yeah, we're trending on Spotify right now. You'll see.
Good shit, boys. Good shit.
Especially with this episode. This is the turning point. But thanks for hanging out, man.
The turning point into the fucking clip.
This is where it swings, boys. But thanks for coming on, man. Next week, I don't know who we'll have on, but we will be doing another one. Hopefully, it'll be back on track with the Wednesday schedule. But thanks for hanging out, Farmer. I have been streaming more lately, just because it's more enjoyable to stream hardcore for me. I'm just having a blast doing that. So just watch me play the Timmy League, and then whenever I'm done with the Timmy League and my current other hardcore character, I'll be doing hardcore solo self-found for the rest of the league. So I've been just enjoying streaming that. So we'll probably be talking about hardcore a lot this next episode as me and Rabbit are diving deep into it. But yep. We'll see you guys next week. Bye.
7 boys.
Peace.